Hello everybody, Canon Cate here. I hope you're all fine and have been enjoying being back to school. Cloister Club hasn't quite started yet, so we thought we'd do a few more stories on YouTube for you. I wonder how many times you have said, "It's not fair." Perhaps when you thought that someone's getting more sweets than you, or they're getting a bigger present. Perhaps you were told off at school for something and someone else did the same thing, but they weren't told off. I know that often happened to me when I was at school, and I'd get upset and I think, that's not fair. Why aren't they being told off? Well, you see, the disciples, the followers of Jesus, his close friends, were a little bit like that, and they were grumpy at times. They were often grumbling to Jesus about who was the best, who he loved more, who could sit in the best place, who would get more love from God when God's kingdom was coming on earth that Jesus was talking about. And I think most probably Jesus got a little bit cross at having to keep explaining the same thing. I knew a gentleman once who, when he heard a child say, "It's not fair," used to say to them, "Life isn't fair." Well, that's a bit hard, but let's think about what Jesus said to his disciples. And I'm going to tell you a story from my children's Bible book again. And it's called The Workers and Their Wages. Jesus said there was once a man who went to the marketplace early one morning to hire some men to help in his vineyard to help harvest the grapes. "I'll pay you a silver coin for a day's work," he told them. And they gladly agreed to that because they thought it was a good wage. At 9 o'clock, he went back to the marketplace to hire some more workers because he thought he needed them. "I'll pay you a fair wage," he promised. So off they came. And he hired another lot at 12 noon and then some more at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. When there was only about an hour of daylight left, he went back to the marketplace and he saw some men still standing there waiting for work. "Why aren't you working?" he said to them. They said, "Because no one has employed us." "I'll give you work," he told them. "Come and join my other men and pick my grapes." When it grew dark and the work was finished, the master told his foreman, who was in charge of the men, to pay all the men. The last batch were called up first because they were nearest, and they were given a silver coin. The others thought, "Oh, great. They've only been working a little while and they've got a silver coin. I wonder what we're going to get." But each of them were given the silver coin, the same amount of money, whether they'd worked for an hour or 3 hours or 6 hours or 9 hours. "That's not fair," they grumbled. "We've worked all through the heat of the day. We deserve more." "Listen, my friends," the master said. "We agreed on the wage before you began work. I kept my promise. I promised those of you first thing I'd give you a silver coin, and you were happy. Those at 12 noon agreed to a silver coin, they were happy. Those at 3 had agreed a silver coin, they were happy. And those with just 1 hour of work agreed to a silver coin and were happy. It's actually my business if I choose to be generous to latecomers." The disciples were very, very puzzled. If that's what God's kingdom's like and Jesus' love is like, perhaps none of us will get it. But Jesus thought they were thinking the wrong things. And he said, "It doesn't matter whether you come to me first or you come to me last. I will love you the same." And God's kingdom is like that. whether you come into it early or whether you come into it late, you will receive the same amount of love in God's kingdom. I think that's a lovely thing, that it doesn't matter whether we know about God's love, whether we're very little or whether we're big, that God is there loving us all the time, and he loves each and every one of us the same amount. He loves children, middle-aged people, old people, all the same. He loves all of us, whether we're black or white, whether we're little, whether we're big, whether we know him or whether we don't know him. He loves us all. And I think that's a wonderful thing to think about. And if we think, oh, well, it's not fair, just think about that Jesus loves us and brings God's love to each and every single one of us, whether we know him or whether we don't. So you may think that's unfair at times, but I like to think that God's kingdom and what he wants us to do is to be fair with everybody as he is fair with us. So the next time you say, oh, it's not fair, he's got more than me, or she's got something better than me, or why did I get told off? Just stop and think a little bit about God's love. God's love for each and every one of us is the same. Well, it's been nice sharing that parable, that story that Jesus told with you, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.